has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
We're going to get up to 87 for a high temperature today, but we bring in a chance for some showers and thunderstorms this evening into tonight. Some of those could be strong to severe, with large hail and strong wind gusts being the main threats. We'll drop down to 67 tonight, maybe a morning shower tomorrow with a high of 86. Then we'll get up to 90 for a high on Wednesday. How about y'all just Aaron down for 93.7 The Ticket and ticketfm.com.
Summertime is here, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? Your dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble it so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more.
Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Oerrman. Old School with Foreman and Oerrman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, good people? The aftermath of July 4th, all weekend, July 4th weekend. It wasn't July 4th day. This is a great Monday, beautiful day outside. This is Old School, the new school way. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerrman, live in effect, 1040 O Street. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Old Cheney / Andermatt, and 168th in Maple, up there in the O or the Metro, whatever makes you feel better how to describe Omaha. It is now time, Austin.
It is time.
It is time. All football players out there at all levels. This is Pee-wee leagues all the way to professional. Your life is officially over. Hey, Austin, that last firecracker or whatever you call them that went off, that's your last hurrah.
That's your alarm clock. Wake up. It's football.
Hey, listen, you better not be sleeping in no more. You better be on it. And if you have to cram for the test, which is training camp, you better start cramming.
Too late if you haven't started.
Yeah, if you get another week into this bad boy next week, the 11th, it's not going to work out well for you. It is your life as a free human being, and free. What I mean is your life will be Groundhog's Day from here on out. Is now officially over. You are somewhat free right now.
Or so you think.
Or so you think. Hey, the days will become shorter. The nights will become even shorter. The time will move exponentially faster. I feel so sorry for you. Actually, I do not. Because
You did your time.
Because I did my time. Trust me. I remember at the 4th of July. Listen, if you had a good time this weekend and had ribs, burgers, hot dogs, brats, potato salad, and all that, every bite of that you eat, even if you have leftovers right now, or if you could continue along that path, you have to think twice about eating it. Because
Tough.
whatever meal it is that you eat right now might be the meal, Austin, that might
Tip the scales.
creep up on you and cause your first full body cramp in the middle of training camp. And they always come about 2:33 to 3:15 at night.
Oh no!
Right when you just
no!
Because that's the weird time. Because you okay. Here's for everybody listening. Here's how a training camp schedule goes. Or this is how it used to go. This is what they do now. Is not
soft.
It's not even soft. They're just doing what they do. I won't even do that anymore. I won't even.
But you're thinking it, so I will say it for you, so you don't have the burden of saying.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So you would get up at 5:30, say 6 o'clock. It gives you enough time to, call your family or whatever to handle your stuff. If you have a drug test, that's the first thing you do. Good morning, Mr. Foreman. Can I get a sample? I don't know. I probably went to the bathroom about 8 times because I've been trying to overhydrate. But let me see what I can do. The worst thing that can happen to you is you can't, because that delays your whole. First of all, that's the worst practice ever. I'm worthless from there. So then you have breakfast, and then you're depending on the team. You're usually on the field no later than 8:30. Practice is popping at 9. 9. So it's generally you're on the field maybe a little bit earlier than that. Actually, in Houston, we were on the field at 8. Practice to 8 or to 10:15, maybe 10:30, depends on how good or bad we practice. Weights, lunch, it may be an hour or two to rest.
What are you eating for lunch? Because you got something else coming after.
Well, I'll do Houston. Okay. Because Houston was unique because of Dom Capers. His idea was like, we're going to recreate the Junction Boys as close as possible. I love Dom. He's my dude. I love him to death.
And how well did that work for him?
For me?
For him.
It worked out well enough for Dom that he's still like a consultant, right?
How well did it work out for you then?
Very, very well. I hated doing it.
But it worked out very well.
When training camp was done, I said, listen, if I can get through this is the rest of the season easy. So what Dom used to do, this is the funniest team meetings I've ever been in, right? So you're sitting there and it's like, it goes up or whatever. What do you call it? Theaters?
Amphitheater.
Yeah. So I'd sit like, row 6 or whatever, and I'd be right there. And he gets up there and he do his quotes and all that, and he got quotes because that's Tom Coughlin. They all do. They got quotes in this and stats and all that. And he talked about the practice schedule. And he's like, we got to be the toughest team in the 4th quarter. And I'm sitting there like, Dom, like, look, man, we professional athletes. We all tough, but all right, let's roll with it. It's hot as Hades down here, but let's see what we can get into. He's like, we're going to practice in the morning and then give you enough rest during the middle of the day, and then we'll have an evening practice. He's like, but when we practice once a day, he's like, I want to practice at the peak heat and humidity in Houston.
Which is very hot and very humid.
I said, this dude done lost his dang mind. Right? And let me tell you something, and that's when we went full pass. So anyways, the day was, so when you asked about lunch, and my biggest meal was at lunch. Because you eat really light, before you go practice at night. And then we had a ton of meetings and, weights and then you get a look, you really only got about an hour or two, depending on your position group and position coach, before you start to get active into the next block of meetings and practice and stuff like that. And then of course we had walkthroughs. Mm-hmm. And then the one a day was a little bit later start in the day. Weights, meetings, lunch and breakfast practice, and then we would sometimes get the evening off. Depends on where you were in your tenure of your career.
Not about how the rest of the day went. That was like a veterans and younger guys split.
Yeah, depends.
How many veterans stuck around for that, even if they were given the day off or the evening
you
off?
didn't get the evening. Well, it was you so tired, you just want to go back to the hotel. I mean, sometimes you go home, but you would never get the full night off. You would just get the evening off from meetings.
Gotcha.
And a lot of that is based on we already have.
You don't need to install again.
We already had enough. We'd always try to get ahead. So generally, like we would only get it off if the coaches and we performed well, and then the coaches kept us on schedule, ahead of schedule, and then we were actually executing there good, which generally happens about the third or fourth day in camp because it's a lot of review from the mini camps.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take a step back because we do get a day off. They do just, you just chill and and then you got to get back into it, and they expect you to pick up right where you left off. And then you go about 6 days without a night off. So it was tough. I mean, it's
and that's when you say my life is over.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, training camp's not meant to be fun. I don't think. I'd look at sports a little bit different. I don't think anything about sports is quote unquote fun. Playing sports and trying to win. I don't think anything's fun. And I would ask people, what's fun about being out there in 96-degree heat and 90% humidity with 20-some pounds of pads on, running into Reuben Brown and running into like Larry Allen all day long, and then trying to tackle Emmitt Smith and all this other stuff, and then doing it at that time we were 6 weeks, in training camp. Like, and then in the off season, what's training out in this heat twice a day to get your body right. There's nothing fun about playing this type of level of sports, even with Strick. Nothing's fun about it.
He's at least in an air-conditioned gym,
but those guys will get out and run the sand dunes and stuff. I mean, they get after it, and they do stuff. And so there's nothing quote unquote fun about it. Now you do it because you love the sport. You love to compete. You truly have to love football because you're practicing 90% of the time, playing 10%, if that. Now what's fun is, reaching your goals, being successful, and winning, which is obviously the greatest thing, great, which you can do. And that's what makes all the hard work, the sacrifice, and the headaches and all that stuff, at least you thought at the time, worth it. It's not fun. Anybody says it's fun, it's not. That you ain't working hard enough. And that's not even me being an old guy or whatever. It's not. It's fun doing all this stuff with your teammates because you're bonding together. But the act of doing it is not fun because competitive sports aren't meant to be fun. There's not. You think it's fun when Nolan Ryan was in you had a 30-pound barrel of rice and he's just sitting there for hours? I mean, I'm sure he'd rather be working on his ranch. That would be fun. Or fishing. That's fun. So, for everybody out there about to get into football season, your fun is now over. Even when you are having fun. Here's the thing. Here's what I used to do before training camp. And not every year, but when I was early in my career, it'd be me and my dad and a bunch of friends. And I was not into golf, but we played out this course and it was super hot. For some reason, I got conned into walking. But I felt like,
because it's good for you.
But I felt like it was a breeze. So that was kind of like my test before, and it was a hilly course and all that. So that was one of the things we should do. And then we'd go fishing. But even when you're doing that, your mind is on football and what's to come and what you have to do. Because unlike basketball, and this is not the same thinking, you don't have 162 games like baseball. You don't have 82 games like hockey and 82 like basketball and all that. And the preseason is kind of, right? And so, everything comes into the season, and a lot of things have to go right for you to reach your goals individually and, more importantly, collectively. So the pressure starts to mount, or the anxiety starts to mount.
Well, and this is probably where you find out which guys on the team probably had a little bit too much fun over the summer, right? The ones that need to cram instead of the ones that, backed off because it's the off season. But there's a difference too, I can only imagine, between backing off and staying ready at the same time and, oh my gosh, this guy's just getting back from Cabo.
Well, yeah, and there's some guys who used to come in and, the work. I mean, back then, we were making good money, no doubt about it. But, you didn't want to give back anything. So, like, I always look at the guys who come in, and some guys would go through so much to make weight. And we're talking about, water pills, got the garbage bags on in there, in and out of the sauna and the steam for it seems like hours. Versus doing the work that I just talked about, so you can come into training camp and all you have to do is concentrate on football. Mm. And and you can, I've played against guys that eventually ate themselves out of the league or lazied themselves out of the league, and some guys, paid as much in fines as they made.
There's probably more guys that ate themselves or vacationed themselves out of the league than guys that. Trying to think of how I want to phrase
played themselves in.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
it's probably easier to play your way out than play your way in, isn't it?
Well, they're all. I mean, listen, the NFL is set up. I tell coaches, and this is one thing I learned from Jerry Burns. He was a Vikings coach. He's like, look, when you're a coach, you get hired to get fired. They're gonna fight. They always. As soon as you're doing well, and this is as a player, no matter who you are, they're always looking to replace you, and that's how GMs get fired or stay there forever, because they know when to get rid of a player or what player to cut and what player to keep and all that stuff. And so you should never feel comfortable playing football.
Never have fun, never feel comfortable. Here's some CTE. Football sounds great.
Hey. Yeah, I always wonder if I know what I know now, would I probably play a little bit. I don't know, man. I mean, right, it's
you would have learned to hit a curveball is what you would have done.
Yeah, I would like that jumper a little bit.
You keep telling us your jumper was sweet. I've never seen it. I need to be the judge of that myself.
It was all right. I can't replicate it right now. Ain't no chance.
All arms.
Yeah, all straight. I'm like Sean Merriman. Straight set shot. But yeah, football it's a tough sport, and it's the few and far between can do it. And the one thing that's interesting, and then we'll get into the show here, is that Phil Steele obviously came out with some of his preseason rankings, so we'll go through that. We love the list or whatever. But anybody that plays any sport, but in particular football, and I guess hockey too, but more in particular football, you're tough. Mm-hmm. Now, how tough? That's just that's relative. Now, I think football is more of a mentally. You have to be mentally tough. Which is something that you can learn it, you can develop it, but some of it's got to be in you. You got to like and be okay with getting hit and hitting people. Like there is no wavering, no matter what it is. No, even now where you can't really strike it towards the head and upper body or whatever. You still have to hit people. You still have to want to go out there in the middle of training camp and do your thing from a physicality standpoint.
And that's not something you can teach in training camp.
No, it's kind of just, this is where you start to develop that mentality. You slowly but sure, this is where, like somebody just asked me, number one, physically, I wouldn't say I was scared, but I knew there was the risk factor from my neck went up. Mm-hmm. And, and that's obviously, you don't want to have a bigger issue. But the most taxing thing for me wasn't the training, you know what I mean? It was more where you had to get to mentally to.
Is that a dark place?
It wasn't like Aaron Rodgers. You want
not that kind of dark.
Yeah, you ain't coming out of that. Hey, listen, you ain't coming out of that bad boy with a bad case of diarrhea in about 3 days.
Coming out with a warrior mindset.
Yeah, you coming out with bad intentions and multiple headaches. And you having a mark right here because the helmet always got dirty. You had a big old brown spot right here, no matter what you did. Yeah. Probably was bruising or something, but yeah.
Did you ever try to prevent that with anything?
The spot,
the mark, yeah.
He did.
Skull
yeah,
cap,
I wore a skull cap, and that just wasn't me.
I really thought you would have been a skull cap.
I wore a skull cap
and the visor guy. That is
I wore the visor because I got poked one time in the eye.
Intentionally or unintentionally?
I did. Well, one time was unintentional. I don't know. I don't think anybody did hit me like that. So I wore the visor. And then we got down to Houston. We had the equipment dude. He was always he'd be like taking like Under Armour stuff. He just to do petty stuff. You know what I mean?
Like pinching stuff for himself or taking stuff?
No, just like because the NFL had their own.
Yeah, they have their
stuff,
gear,
but it wasn't as good as the stuff that I generally like to like, and I was paying for it. It just automatically sometimes come up missing out of my bag. So he took the visor off, but I put it back. I wore the visor more protection.
Gotcha.
And and then also because I had LASIK, LASIK that 1 year, so I wanted to make sure that my eyes were protected. But yeah, it's no, I wore a skull cap a couple times.
Sleeve situation. What was on your arms?
I wore
sweatband or two or sleeves?
No, I wore sleeves, and that's that's the word that I used to wear sleeves because we played. Where did we play? We played somewhere. No, we played
Indianapolis.
No, we played in my hometown, Washington Redskins at the time.
Okay.
There was some. This is Daniel Snyder. I need to. You know what? If I get mesothelomia on, I'm going to sue him. There was some sort of chemical like in the grass, and dude, dude, I broke out like just all these like hives. You know what I mean?
Yikes!
And I was fine, playing
at 31 other stadiums. You're fine.
Fine.
Yeah.
So then I just wore sleeves after that.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was hot though, and so that's where then it just became what I did.
Were you so meticulous about your gear and how you were dressed that you had to dress for practice and games the same way? Like, were you sleeved up? Were you visored up, taped up, everything for practice too?
I practiced every game. I with the intent like it was a game. Now I had practice shoes and all that stuff, and didn't kind of go to the maximum. But I had a routine for practice, because I feel like for me, I felt like I needed to do certain things to make sure that I'm in the right mindset to be successful.
I get you.
And so that's no different than basketball. You get so many shots. You ever hear the JJ Redick thing?
Yeah.
Where it's like 372 shots, and to be a good shooter, you have to be meticulous like that. He had his workout, his training session down to the minute and the second. That's called being efficient. So he could probably get his meals and rest in and all that.
Here's a nap guy as well, I believe.
Yeah. Well, that's because, but then he had his time that he was training.
Mm-hmm.
You want to hear a funny story about me training?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh man, and I'll never forget. Does
this require a statute of limitations?
No, this is funny. Okay. So I'm in college, and this is when the Denver Broncos were way at their height. And one of my good friends loved the Denver Broncos, and we'd be playing PlayStation, and then obviously you would see, this is when ESPN was doing with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson, NFL Prime Time, and Terrell Davis was just
tearing it up,
breaking cats up. And he was like, my way too real Denver Broncos and all this other stuff. So I had to watch him all the time, and he would tell me about him all the time. So that's right when your boy Bill Romanowski came out with his supposed regimen with EAS. Remember EAS or whatever?
Okay, yeah.
And they did this. This is how dumb I was. And this is how we had no information. He was like, oh, if you take zinc or whatever, it's supposed to give you more energy. Like zinc pills or whatever. And then there's this goo it or whatever. So I said, all right, man. At that time, Peter Schaefer was my agent or whatever. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? So he's based in Denver, him and Lamont Smith. So I'm going to go up with me and a couple other teammates, go up there, or clients or whatever you want to call them, go up there and we're training. And I see Bill Romanowski, dude. Hey, and I was yoked up back then. Yo, he was like a machine. Do you understand
Terminator style?
I mean, just, you could tell. He was
machines were helping him probably.
No, he was just crazy. Like everything was just he was screaming when he was running. So I said,
he was running.
Oh yeah,
it's one thing while you're lifting, but screaming while you're running.
So Peter came, ended up kind of doing a introduction, and I knew, or whatever. So we worked out a couple of days ago. When I tell you that old buddy ran me when I tell you right now, he ran Jay Foreman into the ground. Look, we were just barely past the warm up, the dynamic warm up, calling Earl. Hey, Austin, just over the fence, just get. And I knew not to do that. I didn't go and eat a big breakfast and show him at work. I just drank water and had a little protein shake, just giving it all up.
Kind of reminds me of the Jared versus Aaron Donald situation we had recently.
That's exactly what it was.
Except it was Jay Foreman and Bill Romanowski.
Yeah. I mean, and then I knew there was a new level of training I had to go to. Oh, just giving it up, man. He was, and he didn't even stop. He's like, I'm glad to see you back. Just survival mode after that.
Right.
Yeah.
Was that better or worse than the Mike Singletary?
Mike Singletary was worse because that's probably where about 5 of my concussions came from that stupid sled thing or that shoot that he had. So what he did was, everybody's listening.
This guy get low. Come on.
Mike Singletary, they list him at what, 5'10"? Look him up. Was it 5'10"?
You think they give him 5'10"?
Right. I think they list him at 5'10".
If they give him 5'11".
Okay, 5'11". He ain't nothing but 5'9". Period. Point blank. 5'9". At best, 5'9" and a half. I'll be nice.
Okay.
So he had this shoot that they use, I think, for linemen, so they come out and they're low, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he had a special one built, so it's just 2. So it's like a square, and it's steel though, and there's a net on it.
Oh, that explains it. Okay.
Right. So it's steel, and so there's so it's 2. It's square. So the normal one is like 4 because you do it with 2 linemen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he put an extra one on it, so he get 3 linebackers to do it. So what he would have to, and I'm 6'2" and a half, or whatever, and then and I'm fresh, just coming there, off an ankle injury, just kind of getting back into, and I knew I was in shape.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to do this drill where you had to shuffle, then go through the chute somewhat full speed. So you got to be real low, and then you make a tackle. And the funny thing I should have knew something was up, because my man D. Smitty, right, Derek Smith, this is the first day now. The first 2 days, he go over there because he had a bad he getting his wrist taped and everything like that. Then I started like, yeah, I see what you're doing. When I went through that thing, the helmet was just, it looked like I've been in like goal line drill for like 30 minutes. And he was like, come on, Foreman. Come on. He's like, you could get knocked out. I'm like, I know.
I know.
Hey, Brent, my man B. Moore was over there laughing. Jeff Olberg was laughing. They're like, yeah, everybody's like that. Then eventually it was fine.
How long did it take you to avoid your helmet looking like 30 minutes?
It took me the first week. But his group work was, his group work.
For real?
Yeah. I told you, Adrian, I think Peterson or Patterson left.
Yeah.
He was crazy.
I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm done.
He'd kill you in group work. The first day I got there, I'm in Air Force. I don't have any clothes. So I was flying there. I had Air Force Ones on, trying to be fresh to death. Mm-hmm. And I'm there so early because they arranged for me a ride that the equipment dude ain't there. But he's there. So I'm in like Air Force Ones and like jean shorts and a T-shirt waiting to get my stuff. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, let's go outside.
You say no to Mike Singletary?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say no. I don't even think the ink dry on the contract. Man, he had me on that hill in Air Force Ones, had me slipping everywhere. He's like, I just want to see what you got. All right, well, thanks.
I got his problems.
Yeah.
Mike Singletary, I got problems, thanks to you.
My hamstring's on the 5-yard line. My pride's on the 50. I was going to just drag my tail into the locker room and get me some breakfast. So, anyways, John and Cortland, you are right. Romo was just looking for something to hit. Yeah, he was yeah, pecan pie. Yeah, wearing George. Yes. Yeah, jean shorts. George. That's half of the pecan pie. What is it? Is that the Canadian tuxedo? It's got the jean jacket, right? In jeans. Is that the Canadian tuxedo?
Oh, yeah. We got denim on top.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna go over Phil Steele's preseason rankings. Where's Nebraska at? Is it a good spot to be? Are we laying in the weeds? Or are we not high enough? Jay Foreman, Austin Oerrman, Old School, New School Way. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerrman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you Go Big Red!
Play ball!
Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Summertime is here, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? Your dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble it so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, 2-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Back to old school with Foreman and Oerrman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, enough nostalgia. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerrman, old school. We are back in effect. Oh man, that was kind of funny though, Austin. Hey, Roman honestly did your boy in, but I was in.
But you're here today, and that's what we care about.
Yeah, and my man John and Cortland talking about Lyle Alzado. He was a little off. He was off the chain.
First time I've ever heard that name.
Really? Lyle Alzado. Yeah, you might need to watch that later at night. He
looks
crazy.
Who does he look like? He looks
Like Lyle Alzado.
Well, having not seen him before, he looks like a kind of cross between like Mike Gundy and Mike Leach.
Yeah,
The curly burglar from Home Alone.
Yeah, he had the flow in the back too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Ed Orgeron. He looks a little bit like Ed Orgeron.
A little bit.
So this picture specifically, I get big Ed Orgeron vibes.
Yeah, he looks like Sylvester Stallone a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But probably crazier than all of them combined, except maybe Coach O.
Back then they really fight, during the game, just like the NBA. But Phil Steele came. We love lists, right? That he came out with his preseason rankings in the Big Ten. There is no if you don't think Ohio State is number one defending national champion after even losing all those players, you're crazy. They're number one. Penn State is number two. Oregon's 3, right? Michigan is 4. Now, from here on out, this is where it gets shaky.
Are you buying Michigan at number 4?
I think they're getting past success pass and how they ended the season, beating Ohio State and beating Bama.
Yeah.
No matter what. They ended the season on a high note.
So is Michigan the bottom of tier 1 or the top of tier 2 for you?
According to this, they're bottom of tier 1.
Okay. But I'm saying to you, how do you see them?
I don't know. You got a freshman quarterback.
That's what I'm saying.
And you just picked up another one just off the street.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you have a whole bunch of quarterbacks,
you don't got a quarterback.
You don't got a quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
I think I would probably I would say the top tier is 3. Oregon, Penn State, Ohio State. They have the most comeback and they get the biggest runway and leeways, the biggest leash. Michigan's in that gray area. If they play well, then yes and not. But I think they're getting a little bit of credit out the pass. Here's where it gets a little shaky to me. Indiana at 5. Okay. They're dealing with expectations, emotional off of last year. Because everybody's going to reference this year's team versus last year's team. The breaks, the explosiveness, the ease, the way they being so well coached and easy to go through teams. That's where it's interesting to be number 5.
I like the quarterback though.
I know, and I like the cornerback too.
True.
I think they'll be good. 11-2 is hard to replicate.
It is.
Okay, and then number 6. Illinois is number 6. They had 10 wins last year on the sneak. Nobody's ever talking about them. We got one guy down here saying that Illinois is going to be this year Indiana. Not really, because they're already ranked number 6. They are well coached, and they are hitting their peak right now. But I think Illinois, like we've seen in the past, every year you expect magical things out of them. They don't.
Is it any different now that it's Bielema, though? And like Bielema does have a pretty good track record of that stuff.
And coaching in the Big Ten.
Right.
And they got a lot back. I think.
I would say I think Illinois has a higher ceiling this year than Michigan does.
Yes, because I think if Michigan does it, it's just expected. If Illinois does it, it's the expectation, which is emotional, and then they've set their new standard, so it actually means more. They could both be 10-2.
Yeah.
Illinois would be like, wow, you want 20 games in 2 years. Bielema will mess around and be somewhere else.
Be in the SEC, but wait.
Yeah. So number 7 comes our Huskers. 7-6 last year, made their first bowl game. Right? A lot returning on offense. Portal gets on both sides, but here comes the Huskers at number 7. How you feel about that?
Little rich for my blood. Not sure I would do that. Not sure I hate it. Not sure I would do it. But again, when it's different when you do rankings versus tiers.
Yeah.
Because
okay, we'll do that. Where do you see Nebraska now? Do you think they're second tier?
I think Nebraska is middle of the third tier, probably. Because I would take Illinois ahead of Indiana. I'm fine putting them behind Michigan. I think that's a coin flip. I like Indiana more. I think Iowa has a more proven identity than Nebraska does. Is Iowa close to Nebraska, according to Phil Steele?
They're number 9.
Number 9. Okay. Is USC number 8?
Yeah. So essentially with your tiers, it's between USC and Nebraska.
I would go, I would put Iowa ahead of Nebraska for right now.
Right.
And then USC and Nebraska is what flavor do you want?
Right. Well, that means Nebraska and USC in your guesstimation are fighting for the lower tier 2 and the
Upper
highest in
tier
tier 3.
Yes.
I could see that.
And I think Nebraska has as much, if not more, to prove than USC does. So I would rather, again, just from this side of things, I would rather rank Nebraska in the 9-10 range and have them play their way up to 6 or 7. And it's just so weird to hear, 6th or 7th in the Big Ten. That's not great. Then you remind yourself it's an 18-team conference.
And you
have essentially 3 college football playoff locks already. So essentially what we're saying is Nebraska is, if they finish 7th, like Phil Steele says, Nebraska is 4th in line for that 4th college football playoff spot, which it seems like you're pretty far away.
But
not. Also, that's one break here or there for each of those teams. You keep moving up a spot, and you're within shouting distance.
And worst case scenario, you're on a primetime bowl.
Yeah.
And so I do. If you break it down in 3s for the tiers, obviously stops at Oregon, then Michigan at the top of tier 2. And then let's just say, Illinois and Indiana are just 5 and 6, 6 and 5, where you got. So then it comes down to that tier 3, which I think they're all the same because they all have some strengths and have some weaknesses. They all have I guess Iowa probably has the more recent brand of football that's been consistent over the years, right? More consistent than Nebraska and USC.
And I like Gronowski, the quarterback.
I think I do. He might be the best quarterback they had since Chuck Long.
Probably. Sorry, Ricky Stanzi.
Yeah,
Sorry, CJ Beathard.
And Banks and stuff. I'm just kidding. But I think he fits Iowa, though, and pretty productive. And then you got USC, who I think is the wild card. Well, USC, based on their skill positions and all that, and where they're located, they could jump up in tier 2 real quick. And they just because anything USC does, just after last year, the way they started. And they showed how big they got in the offseason as far as lean muscle mass. And then next thing you know, it slowly but surely deteriorated.
But then you got to worry about teams from the bottom as well.
Right.
Is there a UCLA going to pop up? Is Maryland finally going to do something? What's Michigan State like in year 2 under Jonathan Smith? PJ Fleck resurgence. Does Luke Fickell put it all together?
Right.
These are things that you can't just write off as out of the question.
Because they've done it before.
They have.
Or that university or that team has done it before.
Yeah.
So that leads to this. I want to ask you this, and also the text line. Out of Washington, Minnesota, I'm going to say Wisconsin, and Michigan State. I think UCLA is going to take a little bit of a dip.
Okay.
Out of those 4 teams, which team is going to be that pesky team that sneaks up into tier 3? Because this is tier 4 now, right? They're all those 4 teams to me are the top in tier 4, and one of them is going to sneak up into tier 2. That's just the way it's always been.
I think Washington has the quarterback. I think there's a lot of hype around Damon Williams. He was pretty good in limited action last year. I think there's legitimate excitement around him. But now he's the guy instead of in that rotation with Will Rogers. I could buy Washington for that reason. Minnesota feels like things are really quiet on their front. I can see them messing around and getting to 7, 8, 9 wins pretty comfortably. Do or die year for Fickell. Kind of feels like, whether it should be or not. I don't trust Wisconsin to do it, but as soon as I write them off, they'll do it just to spite me.
Right.
And I think Michigan State on the low is pretty sneaky, right? I think if Childs puts it together, he's pretty good. I like Jonathan Smith as a coach. I think he fits Michigan State. I don't know enough about the rest of those teams to comment accurately, but I would say, gun to my head, my gut tells me Michigan State. I think there's the most tangible with Washington. But Minnesota feels like the obvious answer.
Yeah, I think it comes down to I like Michigan State too. I think it's going to be. I think it's a year 3 thing, but I think they're going to be improved because they were tough out last year at times for teams, and they're going to be tough. And I think they've gotten better on this. They've kind of recruited their type of Michigan State player, so they're still trying to get it going. But I think they're going to be. If you go up there to East Lansing tripping, you're going what they call it, the woodshed.
Woodshed.
Yeah, they're going to take you to the woodshed. But I don't think this is the year they take that big leap. I think it comes down for me to Washington and Minnesota.
Okay.
I think talent-wise is Washington. I like Jed Fish. I do. I know him. So, I like him. I think they have a really good running back. I think they've always had a kind of a sneaky good offensive line, big, tall, kind of like Paul Bunyan dudes. I think they have enough, like they're big enough on defense to be physical, but that I think they're really, really fast. So I think that makes up for it. And the thing about Minnesota is it's very quiet. They have a really good running back. For whatever reason, they always have good receivers and offensive line. But I think something's off. I think the co-coordinator thing didn't mesh as much as PJ Fleck thought. And I think when their defensive coordinator left for Penn State, was it? I think, or Michigan State. He's at Michigan State.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that is a huge loss for them. So I'm going to go with Washington. Just because I think PJ Fleck would be successful, but I think Washington can make a huge jump. I think they are motivated to beat the likes of USC and compete with Oregon. I think Jed Fish is a sneaky. He has, what about Jed Fish? He's a handsome looking dude, or whatever. He has a little bit of that Jim Harbaugh rub it in your face a little bit, but he has that all shucks of Pete Carroll, where he's like, joking around with you. And then he has a little bit of kind of like hard nosed, like Nick Saban too. No nonsense. They got a really good staff. I like Jed. I like the staff. I know Scotty Graham. He was a mentor of mine growing up. So I'm going to go with Washington.
The last thing then for me, Phil wonders about Greg Schiano and Rutgers. Do you think they could sneak up into tier 3?
No.
Same.
Yeah, I think
last year was the year for them, I think.
Last year was a year for them. And that's where I kind of look at Indiana, where you come. Remember when we were at the Big Ten? Rutgers was the talk of the Big Ten.
Manungai,
they just came in right, and they had some injuries, but then also they just didn't mesh well offensively. I think that Rutgers will look improved, but to take that big jump, I'm looking for Washington, because Washington is looking like they think that they feel that they're just as good as Iowa, USC, Nebraska, and they feel they're more talented or as talented as Illinois and Indiana. So for them, when they get off the bus, they're playing against themselves. Now, I think, that last year was a little bit of an eye-opening experience with, Coach Jed, as far as remember when they ran the speed option to the boundary at Will Rogers. And,
Will Rogers.
Yeah, I think you probably want that play back, right? But I think those are learning experiences that you learn going from Arizona to Washington, that then into the, the best conference in the nation. So lists are going to be, plentiful moving forward. And then obviously, at the bottom half, Purdue, Northwestern, Maryland, they got Michigan, UCLA, Wisconsin at 13. I think that's just kind of, whoever can have a good season and get to a bowl game is pretty successful. So that's our ideas on lists. We're going to take a quick break, come back, put a bow on this Monday. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerrman. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerrman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work?
Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Lincoln's new craft cocktail lounge is Bar 48 in Lincoln. Located at 2639 North 48th Street, Bar 48 offers everything from cocktails to beer to wine and so much more. With summer right around the corner, you can always enjoy Bar 48's frozen beverages. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on their live music performances every Saturday night. Make plans to visit Bar 48 on North 48th Street in the heart of the University Place neighborhood today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at cobblecars.com. Stock numbers G121492, G187747, and G196599.
Hey, Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top-quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
We interrupt this commercial break for an important story.
There once was a man from Nebraska who went searching for food in Alaska. When his stomach was rumbling while laying in bed, he could think of only one option, Fuhrer's cheese spread. So he left it once and drove day and night to return back home for cheese spread delight. Now his stomach is full and the voice in his head tells him no more vacations without Fuhrer's cheese spread. Find yours today at most local grocers.
Lights out? Let LES know where to go. Powerline matches your phone number to your service address so LES can respond to outages faster. Keep your information up to date at les.com/powerline.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerrman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, we're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerrman. Quick segment here before we put a bow on this Monday. John and Cortland is talking about PJ up there. I forgot Malachi Coleman's up there. We have to ask PJ about him at the Big Ten Media Days. I'm sure he's doing well, fully acclimated. And they do a good job of developing receivers, so he'll do well up there. He fits in well there, so he'll do well. The thing I think with Nebraska, that with any team, is Nebraska is no different than in this sense. Nebraska is no different than, let's just do in the SEC or even Big 12 or ACC. So those teams that are just in that second tier, potentially third. So that'd be like your Tennessee's, Ole Miss in the SEC, assuming that is Georgia.
LSU in there?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Georgia and Bama are always kind of like thought up. And then their second tier is like, judging by the way they ended, would be like Florida, LSU, Tennessee, Ole Miss. I'm sure I'm missing another one. That
A&M kind of faded at the end.
All those teams in the thing, they're all the same, and Nebraska included. They're all the same. Mm-hmm. It all starts with getting off to a good start, both in execution, efficiency, and scoring points. You want to show no weaknesses. You don't want to be like, oh well, you scored well, but you were really, really bad on third down. You want to show the things that you wanted to get better at. Mm-hmm. You want to. When you're playing against a Texas Christian or Houston Christian and all. It's kind of like a free practice. That's to be honest. And though I know Cincinnati's going to be a tough opponent, especially the first game of the year. Your opponent should be the most prepared in prep for you. Should be the hardest game because they have been able to watch you all year. and watched the last 4 games with Dylan and Dana and all that stuff. And so I think getting off to a good start, it does 2 things. Number one, it just internally makes everything that you've been preaching legit, and then it lets you know that actually your practices and process has been well received and executed.
Mm-hmm.
But then number 2, and more importantly, is you get that winning feeling. You'll face some adversity, beat that step. Go to the next step, beat that. Then you look up at the scoreboard, and you not only win, but you win by a good and decisive margin. No, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So the team that you're playing, and so then you start to kind of build up that, it's like a false swagger in your mind of we're undefeated. We'll play another undefeated team. You could make a case for them, but then you can make a really good case for yourself. And you're doing things differently than you've done in the years past. And then once you get that one victory, then always go back to that 2019 team in Minnesota.
Right.
They went out to Fresno and won it like double overtime. Won a game they shouldn't have won.
Also got pushed by South Dakota State at home.
They shouldn't have. Matter of fact, I know for a fact, I think they should have lost that game if the young man would have dropped in the flat and made the tackle and cover 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then they barely beat Georgia Southern at home.
Mm-hmm.
But they were winning. It wasn't pretty. But at the end, they didn't go back and say,
"Oh, sorry, we shouldn't have won.
We shouldn't have won that." We won, but we're going to take it out. And then next thing you know, they have the magical win against Penn State, and they're off to the races.
Yeah.
And now they have a different standard for their program. And, now they're facing, expectations and perceptions and in the standard that's all mixed in there on a year-to-year basis, because not only is the football team in a different, stratosphere than usual, the athletic or football department or athletic department is different stratosphere based on the success of the football team, and the not so much success of the basketball team,
right?
And the hockey team is always going to be good.
Love they're higher though,
right? I do too, but it's usually the flip. So now you have to put resources in there to stay competitive,
right?
And to keep your head coach and the players, And when you never really wanted to or had to, so they're facing some different stresses that other people aren't. So I think Nebraska gets off to a good start. Then it's the rest is really up to them. Get off to a good start and deal with success.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 tougher things to do.
Well, I think if everything goes according to plan, the first time Nebraska should have to deal with success is Michigan.
Beating Michigan.
No, getting to Michigan.
Oh, getting to
because
Michigan.
Think about if Nebraska starts 3-0. Oh, here we go. Nebraska unlocked it. Dylan looks good. Had his first 300-yard passing game in college. They're averaging 45 points a game. That's going to be success to a lot of those guys down there.
Oh, well, first of all, and then the people, these dudes, I mean, I feel sorry for them, but I don't. It's like they just be fed a bunch of nonsense. And that's not the rain on your parade. I think sometimes, I'll say this real quick. I think sometimes people think like when you say like, hey, be humble, and I'm not saying they're not, but just like as you start to win more, that's actually when you got to dial it back. Here's a great quote that I heard from this guy. His name is KT. He does security and he did some time in prison, but he's well known. Now he went to prison for somewhat of he was protecting his family or whatever. So, but he talks about this, because he was on one of these podcasts. He's like, look, the idea, and he's a comedian, idea is to get the bag, take care of your friends and family, and get out of the way. That means get the success and get out of your way and keep doing what you're supposed to be doing. Period.
Do it again.
Yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less.
Then you become like Kaiser Soze. You know who that is, Austin?
I brought him up about 1 billion times.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar.
Well, look,
now.
You're about to have a lot of time on your hands. Just put the headphones in and you watch Usual Suspects, my favorite movie. That and Heat. Anyways, appreciate you guys listening. Jay Foreman, Austin Oerrman, Old School, the New School Way. We'll holler at you tomorrow.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have